if you're interested in starting a business, if you're interested in going the entrepreneur route, try it. Don't get discouraged. I would say definitely do some research in advance, because everything that I've done so far has been from my own pockets. I haven't been able to secure grants and loans and investments and all that just, thus far. And so it's a big investment financially.
What's up, y'all?
I'm Lauren.
And I'm Adrian.
And this is the Two Mics,
Two Glasses podcast,
where two best friends discuss business ownership and life. What's up, boo?
What they do?
So are you going to talk about what we got going on today?
I think we should just hop right into it. Today we have a very special guest.
Wait, our first in-studio guest.
Yes, our
Super
first
exciting.
in-studio guest. Yay. So let me bio her in.
Bio her in. Wait, what is that mean? Not making stuff up. Okay, go
I
ahead.
like to use my own phrases.
Yes, clearly.
All right, so Vanessa Simms is the founder and CEO of Cinch Returns, where she oversees the operations and performance to accomplish the platform's daily goal to provide a convenient solution to the hassle of returning unwanted items. With over 10 years of customer service experience, Vanessa brings the human touch along with the streamlined approach to the software service. From the meticulously detailed design of the Cinch Returns web app to the variety of customer support channels, Vanessa has weaved service into every thread. How cute. Of Cinch Returns. Vanessa is a Massachusetts native who currently resides in Maryland. She is married with 2 small children. She has a passion for people and loves exploring new things. As a social butterfly, she enjoys social events, but also loves diving into a good novel. I'm loving all of that. Well, welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Appreciate it. We're so excited you're here and you came in person.
Yes.
Like that's next level. Yeah, absolutely. Love being here. Okay, so to get started, we're going to ask you a couple of icebreaker questions.
Cool.
So since you are an avid reader, what book are you reading right now? Like, what's your favorite book?
Oh, that's a good question. So I do love reading, but I'm very busy. So I have this one book that I've been trying to get through. I just haven't quite finished it yet, but it's called Yinka, Where Is Your Husband?
Oh.
Yes.
Whoa, okay, wait, hold on. What's that first word?
Yinka. That's the name
her
of
name.
the main character. Yes.
Okay.
Where is your husband? I can't say with the African accent that you're supposed to say it with, apparently. One of my Nigerian friends recommended the book. And it is very good.
I gotta write that down.
Yes.
That sounds interesting already.
But yes, I'm about halfway through the book so far.
Are you a paper book reader or an Audible? So you're not here for the Audible.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do Audible so much. When I do my Bible devotions, I will do Audible, but I do when like book, I'll order it. And
you need a physical book.
Yeah. I was part of a book club for a while where you could pick a book through like 5 different options. You would get a book every month. It was called Book of the Month, actually.
Oh.
And that was cool. So I was able to build my collection that way. But generally, I'll just, go to the library and buy a book and stuff. And I go to the library more because I have kids now. So we got to get them the books. And then I'll grab
get
some
your
for
book.
myself. Yeah.
Okay, gotta make it work, Mom. Get your feel too.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. So Yinka, where is your husband?
Yep, it's about this woman who is in a family where her sister's married, having a kid, and every time she comes around family, where's your husband? When are you gonna get your husband?
Well, I'm sure we all
That feels very relatable for me.
But she finds this man at church who is just fine, and I'm like, is this gonna be a happy ending? Is this gonna be the man, or is he gonna be crazy? I don't really know yet.
I mean, when you meet him at church, it's a toss up.
And you never know. So yeah,
never
we'll
know.
see.
You really don't.
So far, so good. That book.
Okay, I love that. And a lot of times people think they are forced to do like a business book. I love that you have like a fiction, leisure read. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I am here for it. Mm-hmm. Okay, next question. Mm-hmm. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
That's a very good question, but I think it'd be
like invisibility, maybe.
How would you use that?
Yeah, no, not in any creepy way or anything like that. But I think I would be able to hopefully help people who are in maybe traumatic or dangerous situations.
Oh, wow.
Where I could
Gosh.
sneak in and be like, you know, yeah, like get out of her, you know, get off of her or whatever, like get people out of those type of
Wow.
situations. Yeah.
So you put
That's
yourself
like
in danger?
a real superhero.
Yeah,
Like split up fights.
I mean, I would first call somebody like, "You got to come with me," but I'm about to break into this place and make sure we, you know, defuse the situation. So
This might be one of the first superpowers, because we've asked this question, where you made yourself like a hero that saves people, and it's not like a self-serving, like not to say everybody's selfish, but like you're like, oh, I could help this person in need,
like save the world.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Have you seen Supercell?
No, I don't
Oh, it's so good.
So it's on Netflix. It's like a black superhero show, basically, and one of them has the invisibility, and he's popping in and out.
Oh yeah, and he was like a criminal.
Yeah, he was like a gangster. He was using it for bad, but you would have the opposite. You pop in there and then separate the
somebody.
fight.
Yes, yeah.
Pop into a bank
Awesome.
vault. No, walk into a bank vault.
Big fault.
Can't make the money invisible. I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and our last question, which is for all of us, basically, is what are we drinking today?
So today we have, is it Hux? Sorry.
Yes.
So you go ahead, because I'm going to mess up the name.
So we have a sponsored bottle today. Thank you, Hux Spirits, black-owned Sangria company, in the DMV too. So today we're drinking their Mo-betta Blueberry Lemondrop Sangria.
That made me think of Denzel Washington.
Very classy.
Ooh, I love
And pink, which goes with our, brand. I feel like it's so like ladylike. Like
It's
this
dainty. It matches the flowers.
and the flavor.
Yeah. So what do you think of the drink?
This is very good. I personally love sangria. Generally, when I go out, if it's a full bar, I'm like, make me a sangria.
Oh,
You
nice.
know? Yeah. So this is
Ready
perfect.
made.
Yes, I don't generally have like bottled sangria ready, so this is like perfect.
Yeah, so one of the good things or cool things about his sangrias is they're all shelf stable.
Oh, very
So
nice.
they're really, really good, like
Yep.
where you don't really need to add hardly anything, and it can last for a long time.
Yeah.
It's ice,
Yeah.
but it won't last for long. You
Yeah.
see the bottle?
Right.
So I have a few more notes about the bottle.
Okay.
So it says, this delightful concoction is a rum-infused blend that perfectly balances the sweetness of ripe blueberries with the tangy zest of fresh lemons. Each sip offers a refreshing burst of summer flavors, making it the perfect companion for sunny days and warm evenings. We're drinking it and it's cold, so it also is good to warm you up in a cold evening.
Well, rum will do that.
Yes.
Crafted to provide a harmonious and invigorating taste experience, Mo-betta Blueberry captures the essence of summer in every glass. Ideal for casual get-togethers, beach outings, or simply enjoying a moment of relaxation. This sangria promises to be a hit for the season. So this was part of their summer 2024 collection.
It's
And you
new.
can cop this and all the other bottles of his sangria at huxspirits.com, H-U-X spirits.com. Get you some. Support Black-owned business.
Yes. So let's support another black-owned business. So let's get into it.
Yes. Okay.
So, Vanessa, give us a little bit of background. Like, before you started your business, where were you? How did you, what were you doing?
Yeah.
Give us some of that.
Yeah, so I was just working full time, which I still do. I work in grants management. Yep. So.
For nonprofits?
For federal government.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So I work fully remotely, and as you know, I'm a mom, so a lot of my day is devoted to these two crazy kids and those sorts of things. But that was pretty much where I was, and. As a Black female, I know that it's important to diversify your portfolio. I work with a lot of people who are developing what will be their retirement plan, and it's not just a 401k, it's not just a TSP, they're dibbling and dabbling in different things. And that's something my grandfather actually taught us, is to, kind of diversify. So it's something that I've always been interested in, but I never invested the time or the resources into like what could that actually look like. I just kind of 9 to 5 kind of thing. Yeah. But I can get into where Cinch Returns became born.
Like, how did you then decide, like, this is what I want to do? Like, I know the thought was developing.
Yes,
Like, what made you say, yes, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do it? And, you know, it seems like to me, as a simpleton, it seems like a complex concept to put together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm very interested on like your origin story.
Yeah. So it was very natural. I was actually out at a brewery with a friend for her birthday, and we were kind of talking about the pandemic and all the different changes of social distancing and all the services we now use, like Instacart. You know, like I do not go to the grocery store anymore. I mean, I can just click on a button kind of thing. So, but in my household, we obviously use online shopping a lot because we're busy, we've got kids, we're working, that kind of thing. And we would just have packages just sitting at the front door. They were just sitting in the foyer table. My husband's like, that's got to get returned, that's got to get returned. And they're just sitting there. And I'm like, so I was at this brewery and we're talking and we're like, I wish there was, like, it's 2023, how is there not a service who will just take these back for me? And not because I'm lazy or not because, you know, I don't feel like it, like I don't have the time, you know what I mean? I don't want to waste money because this is products that I don't want, but it's like, when do I fit it in? And I don't want to lug 2 kids just to UPS, you know, drop off some packages. So as we were talking about this, I had been praying for a while and just like what could be a business idea and those sorts of things, but not something like I have to have a business, you know. But when we had that discussion, it was like this divine light bulb, like, okay, you do it. You know, the service doesn't exist, so you create it. And I immediately was like, started like jotting down notes in my phone, and I just kept quiet. Instead of like saying out loud, I'm going to do it, I was like, no, I'm just going to, you know, take some notes. So I left and I called my husband. I was like, I'm going to start a business. He's like, what? Okay. So then I just started doing a bunch of research, seeing like if this actually was out there already, and I just didn't know about it, seeing what the options were. And one of the first things I did was patent the idea. Just
I was going to ask that. This seems so unique.
Patent the idea, but I had to do the research to see, like, is this actually out there? So I worked with a patent attorney to see what's similar. So this is a software as a service, and so what I'm patenting is the software. It's not like a brick and mortar. It's not, you know, like a bakery, that sort of thing. It's like the service that connects the person with the vehicle with the person who needs the package delivered. And so the patent attorney was able to help me walk through what that process looked like to get the patent. And it's still pending, but I was able to learn what else is out there, like some technology that Target has, technology that UPS has, FedEx, and so on. But I wasn't able to find anything like Cinch Returns. Still, I haven't. I know Uber has like a package delivery,
like a
and
courier,
they'll do it as well, but we offer some services that they don't, such as label printing and things like that. And we're also going to be eventually going into stores. So we have in-store returns.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So instead of holiday season, you're waiting in that long line at Target, you know, you send Cinch. And my goal would be to have just like a Cinch Returns like section of customer service. And you just, you know, it's just a bunch of Cinch drivers bringing in people's returns. But anyway, so that was basically the origin of Cinch Returns. I did a lot of research. I went and looked for the patent, and then my first thing was like, well, I need the infrastructure to make this work. So I started building a website. So I went to Wix, if you guys are familiar with the platform. And I started building it on my own, and quickly realized, I'm going to need some help with this. It's a lot more complicated than what I could develop.
I'm a website designer, so I know like how many entrepreneurs like they try and do it by themselves, and then they're like looking at it like
this looks
this is not quite how how they envisioned it.
Exactly. And also because it's such a custom platform, like you're not just filling out a form like pick this up. I mean, we've got live tracking, we're accepting QR codes, those sorts of things. I didn't know how to do that.
It's complex. For sure.
So I work with a company named Divine Digital, and I have some really amazing people in my life. My developer is amazing. Anything I'm like, I want this, I want that, he's like, let's do it. And so he builds it in and so on. So currently Cinch Returns runs on a web app. So we don't have a mobile app just yet, but it's definitely something we want to get up and running in the future, because I think with these kind of services, That's what people are used to. With Uber Eats, DoorDash, Instacart,
Just download the
you
app.
generally just go straight to your app.
Yeah.
So you can download like a web version of it, but we're still working on the actual mobile app, which is going to take some time, but that's our goal. So yeah, that's kind of the origin of Cinch Returns.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like literally, I feel like we've talked about this, like when we were talking about purpose and figuring out like what you want to do. And I think one of the things you might have said was like, you need to like meet a need that's out there. Like this is like the epitome of finding a need and then creating something to address it, especially something so unique. I mean, it's just, there's always new, but like, what do we say? What is that saying? It's like, there's nothing new under the sun, I think it's saying. But sometimes there's a new perspective or a new way to address that problem creatively. And
it's like a real life problem. Like this is something my family was experiencing. Like I use Cinch Returns, you know what I mean? Like that's something that I would use. So it wasn't like I'm just trying to find something to have like as a side hustle. Like I legit needed to solve a problem that my own family had. So I found that to be useful. And you know, just talking to family, I actually did a survey. And then sorority, I surveyed my sorority sisters, I surveyed family, and they were like, yes, I would use this, you know. We had to figure out pricing a bit, but they were like, yes, I would absolutely use
tell
this.
us some of the questions that you put on your survey.
So one of the biggest ones was like, first of all, would you use this, you know? And some people are like, well, I don't online shop, okay. Some of my sorority members who were a little bit older, they were like, no, you know, I'm fine with the traditional ways. Like, I'll go to the post office, that kind of thing. But a lot of them were like, yes, I absolutely, like, is this coming to Boston? Is this coming to California? Is this coming to, you know, that kind of thing. And then pricing was a big one, because if you're returning something, you're now paying for a service to drop it off. So that's sort of cutting into your return. So like, would you actually use this? And some of the responses were, well, it would depend on the cost of the item that I'm returning. Fair. Absolutely makes sense. Sure. You know, trusting someone, delivering, you know, putting a package outside. Hey, this is my computer, this is my whatever the item is. I'm just sitting it outside waiting for someone to pick it up. And some of our customers will just hand it to the driver. But if you're leaving your package outside, like Cinch is going to take care of it. There are porch pirates, you know, whether it's something being delivered or you're leaving outside. So like, how do we build in that trust? You know, that was a question on the survey. But that was sort of the things, like trying to get a gauge as to what would entice or how I could create something that would actually serve the purpose of just, as opposed to just saying, hey, I'll, you know, return the package for you. Like, let me build in the conveniences and sort of the luxuries that would make somebody say, yes, I would absolutely use this.
Right. Like they don't have any reason to not use it.
Exactly. That's, the surveying is like a really important step that I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs sometimes skip over. Skip over because they have like a concept and then they go from concept to delivery. And then they're like, why can't I get any clients? It's like, maybe there wasn't a market need for it, or maybe your pricing isn't, you know, where it needs to be. So
and I really have to thank God for the people he's put in my life, because that's what I would have done. I mean, I was ready to go, you know, but it was actually the patent attorney who was like, survey first, like get a lot of responses and go back to those people and say, hey, I took exactly what you said and I built it into this infrastructure to make sure it catered to your need. I live in a community in Maryland called Seven Oaks, and so we're able to just, you know, it's like, I'm just going to go around and, you know, talk to people, you know, and there's a bunch of, we've got apartments, we've got townhomes, single families, so a variety of people. And we're like, hey, would
people
you?
Are nice?
Well, that part varied. We did do some canvassing out there, and one of the patent attorney, his suggestion was to like see the people's faces, like see their face light up when you say, this is what we're creating, so on. So it wasn't just sticking door tags on people's doors. We're like knocking. We're like, hi, I want to introduce myself, and so on.
Wow.
Some people were like, go away. No soliciting. Others are very happy to hear. Others were like, when is this up and running? Like, I'm ready to, you know, that kind of thing.
That's
so
awesome.
A mixed bag of responses, but it was nice to just kind of see that this is not something that people would be like, I wouldn't be interested, I would never, you know, that kind of thing. Like they truly was like, this is something that I would use.
I love that too. Like survey people that you live near.
Yes.
You know,
because that was
your
like the market.
your apartment building,
easiest-
your condo complex.
The people to start with.
That's exactly where I wanted to start.
I never thought
I'm
of
like,
that.
we've got a UPS up the street. I'll be the first driver. I will take your package right
And
up.
take it up there.
Yeah.
Listen, I have some in the back. Seriously.
How did you find your patent attorney?
I went through the U.S. Patent Office online. They actually have a tool where you can drop in your zip code and some attorneys nearby will come up. I knew it was going to be really expensive.
Yeah, was that an expensive process?
Yes,
to work
it was expensive, but I actually found someone who used to work for the patent office, so he knows patent examiners and he knows what they're looking for in order to like approve a patent.
Okay.
And he's really great. I mean, he's very smart. He knows business well. He has his own business, you know, because he works with people to help them get patents. And he was responsive. There were like 4 attorneys in the area. One just like wouldn't respond. Another guy was like, I work with like Fortune 500 companies. I was like, that's not me. Have a good day. But Pierce was very welcoming, and I've been working with him for some time. And he's really, really great. He's very knowledgeable. He's been in business for a while, and he's always giving me tips. He was even like, I'll help you canvas.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, like, so many people I've come across are like, just as invested as I am. I'm like, guys, I'm up and running. I don't know if this thing is going to work, but they're like, keep going. So that's really helped me to keep going as well, because so many people believe in it.
Yeah. And that's like a huge part of the battle is finding supporters and having like life support, but like people who are actually willing to canvas.
Yes.
Like, I've done political canvassing. That is not the funnest thing to do.
Not for the
like
faint of
talking to
heart.
strangers. Just knock on the door. They might think you're Jehovah's Witness. So like people coming and like investing that time is really a
Yes.
testament to how good of an idea it is and like the potential of what you have in your hands. So that's extremely exciting.
Yeah.
Wow. So, I just lost my question. Go ahead. You have one?
Let's give you a little bit of background about like these interviews that we're
Sure,
doing.
yeah,
So
yeah.
this series is called How I Got Started.
Okay.
And basically we're highlighting the stories of businesses from different industries on how they got started.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, are there anything that you would want to recommend to someone that wants to start a company, not similar to yours, but maybe delivering in the same way, like having a web app and stuff?
That's a really good question. And I think it's something that you said, Lauren, like how I read just regular novels instead of like business books. I probably could have read a few more business books because I'm not business savvy. I'm not business savvy. I'm not necessarily tech savvy. I'm not, like this space was a little new for me. I do have customer service. You know, I know what people like. I know what I like as a consumer and that kind of thing. And so that was kind of what I've used to run with things. And I've had so many people come into my life that's helped. But in terms of like encouraging people who want to start a business, the first thing I would say is just be confident in what you're doing. You know, like starting a business, it's challenging to start. It's challenging to think of an idea. And competition is going to be out there. Like I have a package return service in Maryland. That's not to say there's not a package return service in Kansas or in, you know, maybe they're local. Maybe it's something I've never heard of. They don't have a patent, what have you. So there's going to be competition, but there are things you can do to offer and you can have your own base. You know, there's Uber, there's Lyft, and some people don't use either. Some people are like, I'm going to use taxis. I will never use, like, you'll have your own, like, you know, group of followers. And so I would just say be confident in what you're doing and push forward despite the competition. I would definitely say have a product if you can that's unique. I think sometimes about like the brick and mortar, like the bakery, I didn't have the luxury of saying like open now or like giving people coupons to cupcakes and stuff like that. But
or
we have
foot traffic. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. But we have a lot of bakeries. So it's kind of hard to enter a field that already exists. Do you have the best chocolate chip cookie? Debatable, you know, like we don't really know.
Sometimes it's about location.
And I was just exactly. So
subjective.
sometimes you can just find that spot where like, hey, there's not a bakery in the 15-mile radius. This is a great spot to put one. So kind of maybe finding a niche somehow. It doesn't have to be the product per se, but just somehow.
What makes you, that thing that makes you unique and attractive.
Exactly. Makes you stand out and so on. And then I would say marketing. Marketing has been such a huge, like, It's a beast. It's like a headache. It's also like can be really successful. I've had some big challenges with marketing. And so I don't know that I have advice, but I would say do all you can if you're starting a business to figure out what your marketing strategy is going to look like ahead of time. And one thing I learned actually from the expo where I met you at is try something for, I think she said maybe like 6 weeks or something. And if it's not working, move on, move on to the next thing. I definitely like put stuff out there and just let it sit. And I'm like, it's gonna work, like
a marketing?
Yeah, like a Google ad, for example. I put out a Google
6
ad and, I'm like, this is just, people are just gonna start blowing me up. And then nothing. And I'm like, well, it has to work. So I just left it up there instead of thinking, well, let me change the verbiage. Let me change the location. Let me maybe increase my budget. Let me, whatever.
Yeah. It's
not
like
making
small
those
things.
Yeah, small things that can really make a difference. And
Like
instead of
A/B
doing
testing.
that, A/B testing, exactly. I'm just leaving it there, expecting. One of the mistakes I made is, so I live in this community and there's a billboard right in front of like the community. So I was like, gonna put up a billboard. So expensive, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And no one knows my name, you know what I mean? But I put up this creative, like Santa Claus, where it's like, Santa doesn't handle returns, but we do. And it was cute, and it was fun,
That's so good.
I'm like, oh my gosh, people are gonna be knocking down my door. Zero.
Oh.
Like zero impact from that, yeah. So I realized, like, don't jump into something so big, something so expensive. You can start small. And I also realized the power of social media. I'm not big on social media just in my personal life, so I didn't really realize just the impact that social media has on people's lives. It's so funny. My sister actually does all the posting for me because I don't really know how to post on Instagram. So she's like, anytime she wants to learn about like events or restaurants, she goes to Instagram. She's like, that's where people go. I'm like, no, they don't. They go to Google. She's like, no, they don't. They go to Instagram. I'm like, are you sure?
And now TikTok too.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's true. Like people go to social media to get reviews, to see the food, look at people that they follow, what was their recommendation. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is legit. Like, wow. So that's kind of been my strategy now, is like working with people in my community who actually, like moms, workaholics, people who travel a lot, people in my demographic, being like, hey, I have this service, your followers seem like they'd be interested in this, can we work together? I was able to work with someone from Anne Arundel County. Actually, her name is Katie Guido, and she runs the Anne Arundel Moms page. And so we did a post together where she was able to let her followers know, like, hey, moms, dads, there's this service available, and that was really cool. I plan on working with some more influencers throughout the year. We're kind of doing like a holiday campaign. So that's been my approach lately, but the marketing thing has just been so crazy.
It's tough.
Just kind of like getting your name out there, and people, I think, just as myself, like if I saw an ad for Instacart.
I'm sure you're enjoying this episode, but we wanted to quickly pop in to let you know about the cool swag we're wearing today. AMW Apparel is a line of inspirational and entrepreneurial clothing for those looking to stand out and make a statement to their following. We provide comfortable and high-quality t-shirts, sweatshirts, tank tops, and more. Enter code 2 mics 2 glasses, which is the number 2, MICS, the number 2 again, GLASSES, with no spaces, for 10% off your first order at shopwithamw.com. Link in the description. We appreciate your support.
I think just as myself, like if I saw an ad for Instacart, I might be like, oh, that's cool. They do the groceries. I don't know if I'm going to order and download the app and all that. But when my mom said, oh, you don't use Instacart? I was like, oh, what's that? Like I'll download it immediately. So I'm like, how do I get the word of mouth out there? And so that's kind of been, I think with a product like this especially, but a lot of products, word of mouth is like pretty powerful. So that's what I'm trying to work on. And I think one of the challenges that I face is we're working in a small area. Like we don't even reach Virginia yet. We're trying to start small so that we can commit to those orders. Then we'll expand instead of be like, we'll do all of Maryland and all of DC and all of Virginia. and I'm like strapped for drivers, like I'm stretched way too thin. So we're starting in a small radius, and I think maybe starting in a city. We reach Baltimore, we don't quite reach DC, which I think might hurt us a little bit, but I'm like, I want to make sure I get a good following, I'm committed, I get feedback, I tweak, I make things better, and then I start to expand a little bit. So things have gone a little bit slower than I'd hoped, but it's been fun. It's really been a fun ride for me, like meeting new people and being able to talk about the service and hearing people like, wow, this is such a great idea. At that expo we went to, they're like, when do you come to North Carolina? You know, and I'm like, oh, you like this? Okay, tell me that more, you know, that kind of thing. So it's been a fun ride, but it's definitely not without some challenges.
Yeah. And so resilience is so important. You talked about not sticking with your initial plan and trying new things and being flexible. Like, these are all the tools that new entrepreneurs need to understand. Because I think, like, when you have such a huge idea, like, and you get so excited about it, and let's say that what you want to do just isn't working or doesn't work out the way you need it to, you have to have that flexibility to say, okay, let me take a step back, survey, market research, and see what people really need. And like Adrian said before, is like, okay, maybe I need to do some more R&D, some more development. I need to research. I need to figure out, how do I still bring my talents to the world through this whatever tool or avenue, and make it so that people actually want it. Because if people don't want it, it doesn't matter. So having that flexibility and like meeting those people, it's just like so key to getting your business to the next level. Having people investing their energy and their time and like really buying into what you're doing. It's not an easy thing to do. So I think that research that you did in the beginning, like really digging in and you know, you invested your own time and money to find out so much information. I think people really skip that step.
It's really smart. I have a marketing background, and market research is like one of the first things that I tell people when they're like trying to start a company or whatever. Like, if you don't know who are the competitors, one, like what you said, are there other people out there that have the same concept as you know, that may mean you need to rework your concept. So
exactly, it's not like, oh, don't do this, but just kind of find some ways to tweak it. Or,
exactly. So you mentioned like how people have really impacted your success and invested in you or like poured into you. How did you? I know you found your lawyer through the
patent office.
But like, who else helped you or invested in you, and like, how did you find those people, and what would you recommend newer entrepreneurs do to also kind of find that your tribe or community?
I really like that question, because that's one thing I don't think people really talk about. Those, I have this person and it's so great, and it's like, well, where did you find like this person, you know? So I'm gonna be really honest with y'all, okay? So so my developer, I started, so on Wix they also have a section for like developers, so you can just kind of search through a list. I found someone. I worked with him for a while, and the website we got better, much better than what I did. But then I was like, I think I want to take it to another level. I think the back end was it wasn't customized enough, and it required too many third party like connections. Exactly. So I asked him if he could help me find someone who could build an app. And then he did connect me with someone, and the app was way out of my price range, but they said that they could build me a web app. And so that's what I decided to go with. I started working with them. And the guy that I started working with is just amazing. Like, he's amazing. And I'm like really grateful that I was able to meet him, and we worked together very well. And he's been able to turn what started as, you know, they have like templates, Wix templates. I mean, I used a moving company template, you know, and it was really bad. You know, I was like, this is kind of close. It was just bad. It was really bad. So what Cinch is now is like, oh wow, this is amazing. And it's just so much, I'm not a coder, you know, like there's just so much code behind it that makes it very custom. So it's amazing. And he's progressive, you know, he uses AI. He'll tell me like, I think we should do this, we should do that. I'm like, do it, go for it, you know. And and it's manageable, it's affordable. I was able, because the web app is much more affordable. So that's how I found my developer. With marketing, so I was just doing some Googling,
by the way.
Oh, thank you. I was doing some research for like inexpensive marketing, and I found an organization called Student Marketing Agency. I think they're based out of Chicago. They work with a university, and basically the professors work with the students, but the students make the content. So they review it and make sure everything's good. And so I was working with them for a while, and it was good, but I found that the content wasn't exactly what I wanted. It was a bit, you know, someone's always carrying boxes, and you know, on the nose. Yes. If you look at my old posts, like you can see when I was kind of working with them. But one of the guys I was working with, we started to build a relationship, and you know, I was like, hey, could you help me with this post and with that post? And we kind of developed our own working relationship. And now I work with him, and it's very much like, okay, I want this. I give him the grandest ideas. He's like, on it. Nice. On it. Wow. Yeah, he's amazing too. He's not even based in the US, actually. He's in Guatemala. But he's like, I got you. So that's been great. You know, working with Pierce, the patent attorney, my family and friends, again, very supportive. Yeah, there's just been a lot of people, I think, that have come across that have, you know, with the influencers like Katie, who I worked with, I was just doing some cold emailing, you know, just like, hey, this is who I am, blah, blah, blah. And I know that's not always successful, because influencers, I'm sure, are spammed all the time with people who are like, hey, please work with me, that kind of thing. So I was grateful for her to give me a platform on her platform. She's got like 20,000 followers. Wow. So I'm like, wow.
Did you have to pay?
I did.
Partner with her.
I did have to pay to partner with her, but you know, she was affordable, and I feel like she was really fun to work with too. Like, I'm just reading like fun. It's not so. I've come across some people who are like, that's not in my market, or you know, like that's against my brand. And okay, fine. Like, especially if you're doing food or something, maybe it's too different. But the response was just like, I don't know, a little negative. Like, okay, we don't have to be in the same market, but we're all trying to do the same thing, girl. Right. But some people I've come across have been really sweet and really just nice, and I don't know, it's really has been a fun experience. I've met so many cool people, and I feel like I'm doing cool things. Yeah. So yeah, I hope that continues to happen, and I hope and I have vowed to be like, if I do get to a place where I have a huge following and this really kind of takes off, I want to be able to pour back into my community, pour back into people who are up and coming, because why not? I mean, you know, I have no reason to hold that back if I have. It doesn't cost me anything, exactly. I actually am working with someone in my church who has an organization working with like women who are like displaced and kind of, you know, that kind of thing, and just trying to find them employment that doesn't have a huge learning curve. And so we're developing a relationship to have like sort of to funnel them towards Cinch Returns as drivers, and you know, working in the back end and those sorts of things. So if I can pour into my community, I absolutely will.
I love that.
Yeah.
What I got mostly from your response to the people is like, you were consistently putting yourself out there to meet people. You were figuring out, okay, what do I need now? You would research to find it, and you would kind of not stumble, but kind of. Yeah. And I think, you know, things are very spirit-led sometimes when you're meant to do something. Absolutely. So it feels like a stumble, but it may not have been. But you kind of stumble into the people, and if it's not the right fit, you don't take it personally. You're just like, right. Okay, well, I'm going to keep looking. I'm going to keep researching until I find exactly what I need, and that takes knowing what you need. So, you know, that planning, that foresight, like, what do you attribute to that when you're like, okay, so what do I need to actually get started? Because I think that's like, you know, we get stuck in that hamster wheel of, what is it called? Like analysis paralysis. And you're like, what do I need? You're just like,
right.
You never do anything. So like, how did you kind of be like, okay, this is what I need. I'm going to go research it. I'm going to find the people. And then they just, the right people were attracted to get you to where you are.
You know, I think I took the consumer point of view. Like, I shop online. I use services like Instacart, Uber, etc. I know what I like and what I expect. That's the kind of standard I have for Cinch. So if I'm not getting that on the website, I wouldn't use it. So if I'm not using it, how can I expect anyone else to use it? when it comes to social media, I know what I laugh at and I know what I do and I skip past. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I may not know how to make that kind of post, like what goes into it, but I know that this isn't working. Like this is not right. So, and I also have, like I said, my sister, like I said, she knows social media. She has a much bigger following than I do, and she knows much more about how that works. So I've leaned on her, like, how does this work? And how do you, I mean, it's so bad. She's like, you've got to do better. Like, come on, girl. But she's really helped me to learn, like, what this is and how you can use it as a platform, you know, for your voice, for your business, for whatever it is. But like you said, like putting yourself out there, I think, as I really do feel like this was divine. This is not something where I'm just trying to make money. You know what I mean? It's like, it serves a need. It serves a need for my family. It serves a need for my immediate family, my extended family. And this is something I think people could utilize. So I want it to work. If it becomes huge and global, awesome. If it becomes a local package return service, I'm great with that too. But I want to continue to put myself out there and make sure it works. So I'm not going to stop until the Lord himself says stop. I'm just going to keep going and see what happens.
Yeah. And we can tell you're like super passionate.
Yes.
Amazing.
I'm excited about it.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I love to see it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like, I mean, it's not too strenuous, you know. I mean, people have returns, and the people who are making the returns are in that position themselves sometimes where they need returns, you know, just like I imagine Uber drivers use Uber sometimes, you know, it's not like it's so foreign to them. So, I want to make sure I continue to put myself out there and find the right people. And I'm telling you, the people who, like the person who helps me with social media and my developer really, really invested, where they're like, you know, I'll do things for free. I'll do things on the side because they really believe in, I think they see my passion and they're like, I'm invested in that. I think they want to help me succeed. So I'm really happy about that. And I pray that it works out. But I really want to be able to help. I really want to be able to do this for my community. So if it's something that people enjoy and they like, then let's keep going. But, you know, if not, then like you said, like if this is not the product, maybe we'll tweak or just, I'm okay with saying, okay, this didn't work out as long as I tried, you know, because it's a huge learning experience. Like, wow, I learned so much even if the business didn't work out. So I'm going to keep trying. Keep putting myself out there.
I love it. Your energy is infectious.
Thank you.
It's inspiring.
It is inspiring.
Like,
it's
I think
exciting.
there's a lot of people and women specifically that really want to work, you know, doing something that they feel like God has told them to do, or you know, it's really like in their heart to do. And for you to figure out what that is, turn it into an entire business. It's really inspiring to a lot of women out there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We celebrate.
And you have 2 babies.
I know, it's crazy. And see, sometimes I think to myself, like, am I not doing enough? You know, because I'm like, if I was full time doing Cinch, then I could do more posts, be out here, do this, do that. I've seen expos in Texas, and even though we're not based out there, there's probably people who know someone in Maryland, in our local area. Like, I can't do that. I have to work. I have to, you know, I have to keep my 9 to 5. I could feed my family. So I do sometimes kind of feel like I wish I could be doing more. And that's the experience I had with the marketing, like just throwing this ad up here and like, it's got to work. It's got to work. Right. But I'm realizing like I have to invest. It takes so much work. And that's why I haven't finished my book. I'm like, every night I'm sitting here like, what do I have to do? What do I have to do? So yeah, I do work really hard and try to do what I have to do. But I think, you know, it's opportunities like these, like you guys allowing me to come on your show and giving me the opportunity to talk about what I'm doing and so on. Like, these are the things I'm so grateful for. Like, I really meet some great people. You guys are going to be in my, whatever, if I have a memoir someday or whatever. Like, no, seriously, because I feel like this is, not everybody's so willing to give you a chance. And so I think having people say yes is like, for me, I'm always like, oh my gosh, really? Like, thank you.
I'm already thinking about how I want to use you later on to speak at this and that. And
thank you so much. I love that.
Because it's like, I don't know. I feel like when we met, I was just so excited for you. Your sister was there with you. I was like, yes. What's this?
Yeah. Yeah, people
I'm like,
are always like,
what other kind of shipping do you need? Help me with my product business? Like, I was like, oh, how can I connect you to the water business?
Yeah.
I'm like, how does... I don't know if it's gonna work, but like,
yeah, no, but see, the fact that you're even thinking about that and you're like, let me follow you, and like I'll follow you, like just genuine, like we're all trying to support one another. Like,
Yeah.
I love that. So
Yeah.
No,
Sense
I
of
love
people.
it. This is so great.
Yeah.
I wish we could keep talking.
Do you have any final like words of advice to people out there that may be interested in following their purpose, God-ordained purpose?
Yeah. I mean,
how they get started.
yeah, I would say it doesn't have to have, you don't have to have a grand origin story. This is actually something that, just another story I kind of struggled with, because some people, I think, you know, for in the church, for example, they just grow up in the church. And so they don't have this like, I was strung out on drugs and the Lord saved me. They don't have like this grand like story. They just was always like in the church. And so I would say the same. You don't have to have this like, you know, this crazy wild story to kind of talk about where you landed and what you're doing. I mean, you could say I just hunkered down in a room and just sketched out ideas until something stuck, like whatever it is. If you're interested in starting a business, if you're interested in, you know, going the entrepreneur route, try it. Don't get discouraged. I would say definitely do some research in advance, because everything that I've done so far has been from my own pockets. I haven't been able to secure grants and loans and investments and all that, just, you know, thus far. And so it's a big investment financially. But I was watching a woman who created this brush that you can actually put your creams and oils in, and it heats up, and you can like, yeah, I know, they're
like a deep conditioner brush.
It's you could use it for deep conditioning. Yeah, it's amazing. They released the brush in September of this year, so it's expensive, but they're starting to. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get this brush. And she was on a talk show, and she said she like sold her house, like she was fully invested. And she even went through cancer during that time. She had chemo. She's fully recovered. But when I heard her story, I was like, oh, wow, that's like the dedication that you got to put into a business for it to be successful. Because not everyone has the trust fund. Not everyone has the you know, exactly. Where it's just like, access. Oh, this is going to work just because you are who you are. And so I think just realizing that it's going to be a big commitment, but you know, that passion, that I think can go a long way. And business smarts, you know, as much as you can, you know, read up on your industry. If it is a bakery, if it is a mechanic shop, if it is you know, don't be afraid to try new things. Like I said, I'm not a tech person, you know what I mean? But I know, I don't know what goes the code behind it, but I know what it should look like when I use it. So I can tell you that doesn't work or this works. So just, you know, give it a try and be confident. And if it doesn't work, it's okay. You'll learn so much from the experience that it would have been worth it.
If you never try, you won't know.
You won't know.
You'll never know.
It can fuel something else later. You have no idea.
Absolutely. That could be the start of, like, you thought this was the idea. No, this is just the start of what's truly to come. So, yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
So great.
Yes, amazing.
Thanks, ladies.
So how can people reach you if they want to work with you, if they want to have you speak somewhere? Because speaking, very good speaker.
She's for real. Future retreat that I have, she gonna be speaking.
Yes, please.
Yes, it needs to happen.
Love it.
And you were worried about mistakes. Girl, goodbye.
So our Instagram handle is Cinch Returns. Excuse me. Our email is info@Cinch Returns. Our website is cinchreturns.com.
And it's
CINCH Returns.
Like trying to cinch your waist.
Yes, yeah. You know, we had this slogan. It's still on the website. I'll probably have to get rid of it, but it's like, if returns have you in a pinch, we'll handle it in a cinch. And so my sister's like, that is so corny, you know.
Adorable.
And I'm like, it's all I got right now. Throw it up there. But yeah, so it's like cinch. And I remember I used to go for walks when I was pregnant, especially. I would just go for walks. And one day I was on my walk and I was thinking really hard, like, what can I call it? What can I call it? And I want it to be easy, simple, quick, convenient. Our slogan is like the snap of a finger, or our logo is snap of a finger. I want that to be what people think of when they think of Cinch. Like, it's easy. You don't have to wait in long lines. You don't have to be out in cold weather. So yeah, cinchreturns.com.
Oh, with the snap.
Awesome.
I love that.
Awesome.
Branding is so good.
In a cinch.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so we end off with a toast.
Yes.
And we would like for you to, you know,
okay.
What are we toasting?
Yeah.
Yes.
I would,
whatever you want.
Okay. I would like to toast to new friendships, to giving opportunities and chances, for being the platform to give others the opportunity to speak about what they've got going on, and for doing what you do, because it's amazing. Like, having a podcast is not easy either. And I know that, you know, it probably took, you guys probably have an amazing origin story as well, but I love the fact that you guys are best friends and you're doing it, you know. That's amazing. So toast to continuously doing it.
Yes. Cheers.
Cheers.